Comfortable Bird 8817. I pushed my mother during an argument and now I regret it deeply. So a little backstory here. I was preparing for my college entrance exams for the past 2 years and wasn't as serious about it as my classmates. Right now I got admission in a reputable college and it is well known, so that's not so much of a problem. The problem is that my mom used to pester me a lot regarding my studies, which I understand, but just at the start of 2024 I got into contact with one of my old friends once more and he too was coincidentally studying for the same exams, so I told my mother about this and she and his mom got in touch. This guy had been preparing for these exams for quite some time while I only got serious about it recently, and my mother loved to compare us both every fucking waking moment. She used to taunt me so much that it led to so many arguments. Those arguments were so heated my throat used to hurt the next day from all that shouting. She taunted me and humiliated me by saying that shit in front of my physics teacher, my maths teacher, but she was smart enough not to talk about him in front of my father. I used to scream, tell her to leave me alone, try to make her understand, but it didn't work, and that guy is a complete douchebag in real life. I told my mother about this. She wanted me to hang out with him despite me telling her so many times how arrogant and annoying he is, but she didn't listen and I lashed out extremely bad. That was on Friday. Our fight was so bad and so much shouting was involved my throat hurt and her stomach started aching the next day, which she later blamed me for. Then today on Monday I wanted to talk to her about the college I had gotten and she just dismissed it. Another thing about her is that she is very disrespectful and will never acknowledge it. She talks to me like trash, calls me like some servant from across the house when she has work that needs to be done. She will curse at me when she gets angry, but when I reach my breaking point I am a bad son who doesn't know how to talk to his mother. She never accepts her faults. So today we got into the same argument after she again was acting dismissive of my college course for which I will be going out of my city in a month for 5 years. She just seems so indifferent, not even a single compliment or anything, just picking at my previous mistakes and taunting me that I'll do the same when I go to college. It was all too much for me today, so when she was in my room again today pestering me, I told her to leave multiple times. I was on the verge of crying and threw a pillow at her to get the point across. She just brushed it off and continued. It all became too much to bear and I pushed her and she fell down on the floor. I regretted it so damn much and she was looking at me like I'm some monster, so she started crying and telling me what kind of son am I to do this, and she said to me she wants nothing to do with me and that she should have never given birth to me. She said she didn't want to hear my disgusting voice when I try to justify myself. Keep in mind that this is after I got accepted in a good college with a good course in AI. She has never been appreciative of a single thing and frankly I feel like a monster. I want to commit suicide. I feel like dying and I feel like trash. I am afraid I'll do this and lash out in the same way when I get a girlfriend or a wife and be tagged as an abuser. I have a past of being bullied and I really can't handle being put down like someone pathetic. I feel so bad just thinking about. I never once have put my hands on her and this was the first time I did it in anger. I am not proud of it. Miniman 91. Grabbed girl's ass while blacked out without knowing until after. The other day I went out for my friend's birthday and had a good night until I ended up blacked out on a dance floor. We had a few girls with us already that were interested in us and we were hooking up with on the dance floor. I woke up the next day and my friend told me I kept grabbing a girl's ass, and after she told me to stop I did it again, then slapped her friend's ass as my friend dragged me out the bar. I don't know if I was getting them confused for the girls we were with and was too drunk to realize they were saying stop, but I feel awful about how I put them through that. I tried asking around who they were to apologize, but I believe they were from out of town and have no way of contacting them. The worst part is I have no memory about it and only going off of what I've been told, and it makes me sound and feel like a monster. I'm up in the air on how I should feel about myself after this. I've given up drinking since, but no matter what I do I can't forgive myself for it. Smooth Cactus. I was selling elementary school kids drugs. Kinda. When I was in elementary school, my mom used to stock up on Superdin Energy. One day, I tried it and it was like a citrus explosion in my mouth, better than any orange juice I'd ever had. Whether it was my young taste buds or the actual flavor, I was hooked. Fast forward to 5th grade, and Digimon mania was sweeping through my school. The craze wasn't just about watching the anime, there was this sticker collection book you had to fill with stickers hidden under yogurt lids. Being a massive Digimon fan, I knew every character, attack, evolution, and could belt out the opening theme by heart. I just couldn't let it slide. But there was a hitch. My family was pretty humble, and splurging on mountains of yogurt wasn't an option. Asking my parents for extra cash was also out of the question. So, I devised a plan. I started smuggling Superden energy tablets and a 2L bottle to school, mixing up the magic potion in the bathroom, and selling cups of this orange juice to my classmates during recess. On my first day, the entire bottle was emptied in 5 minutes flat. Business was booming. For a whole week, I ran my little enterprise under the radar. None of the teachers noticed, except for the coolest one ever, my 4th grade teacher, Mr. Sarhani, R.I.P., you were the realist. He actually found my scheme hilarious, especially after I explained my Digimon sticker dilemma. My mom never caught on because she thought my dad was using the tablets too. But eventually, the jig was up. Kids were bouncing off the walls with energy, and the teachers started asking questions. When they asked the kids what they had been snacking on, I realized, oh no, it's probably the juice I'm selling. So, I decided to quit while I was ahead. In the end, I made enough money to almost complete my Digimon collection book. It wasn't about the money though, those last few stickers were ultra rare. But hey, I gave it my best shot and had a blast doing it. We have heard some confessions, and more to come. Do you have anything to confess? Leave a comment. Not actual 6542. I severed the tip of my toddler brother's finger in a door. Sigh. This won't be short, but I never talk about this memory because of how uncomfortable it makes me feel and how much shame I carry. 12 years ago, my parents had left me and my siblings with a new babysitter that evening and went out to a town about 30 minutes away. There was older brother, OB, age 14, older sister, OS, age 11, me age 9, younger brother, YB, age 7, and youngest brother age 2 who we'll call Al. The babysitter was 17. So, sometime that evening I was playing with Al in the upstairs area of the house. Babysitter was tutoring YB with violin in the room he and Al shared. What I remember is tickling Al and just having a blast horsing around together in my parents' room. To mess with him, I got up and ran to YB's room and closed the door on him, like haha you can't catch me but I'm gonna open the door in 2 seconds. He was right behind me and if I remember correctly had fallen on his butt outside the door. I'm getting sick to my stomach typing this but my little perfect baby brother Al, being 2, used the door frame to pull himself up and as I closed the door, the tip of his pointer finger, right around the nail line, was caught in the door hinges. It's really a blur, but he screamed and I immediately opened the door and I saw him holding up his tiny bloodied finger. It was pretty much hanging by a thread. The babysitter ran over and we all were freaking out. She called my parents and they immediately set on their way home as my dad was a doctor and planned to suture it back on. While we were waiting, everyone was huddling around Al trying to comfort him and also slow the bleeding. I was shunned to my room by who I can remember at least OB. All my siblings were very angry with me. Luckily, my dad was able to completely repair the trauma to his finger and he is left with a little scar where it was sutured on. When my parents came home, I recall looks and feelings of disgust from them towards me. I felt so isolated in my whole family, like no matter how much I said it they couldn't accept my apology or forgive me. My parents shamed me for what could have cost my brother part of his finger, and emphasized how it could have impacted his ability to play violin. For several years I was terrified of doors for other people. My siblings continued to run around slamming doors and I would cry and freak out and beg them to stop and say someone's finger might get caught. I still get flashbacks to the event that really disturbed me, but when I was younger it was much more intense. I've struggled with suicidal thoughts/behaviors a lot throughout my life, but I can distinctly remember that night being the very first time. Right after the incident when I wasn't allowed to be near Al, I just kept thinking and saying I want to kill myself, I want to die. I deserve to die. I felt and to this day feel so terrible for my mistake. And so stupid. Previous _power_3059. Complete memory loss on my last night in Santiago, and it terrifies me. After 2 months of studying in Santiago, it was my last night before leaving. After a farewell dinner with all my Chilean friends, one of my American guy friends convinced me to go to the club with him one last time. I had been drinking at the dinner, but little. My guy friend was chasing after a girl he'd been texting for a while, so I found a guy to talk to. He was older, but I was used to this in Chile since it's very common for clubs to be filled with older men. He looked Russian, which was incredibly strange in Chile. This didn't mean anything, but it stood out to me as unusual. We talked at the bar for a while, and the man bought me a drink. I was distracted, but I know he was holding my drink for a long time before giving it to me. I took 2 sips of my drink, and that's all that I remember until the next morning. I woke up with white powder coated on the outside of my lips. Disoriented, I didn't even think about it at the time. I called my guy friend, and he told me he found me drunk and incoherent, alone, and helped me home. I am so grateful to him. He told me he had no idea where I went, but that I probably just drank too much and I shouldn't worry. The day after was blurry to me, much more than a normal hangover. Or maybe it wasn't, and I am convincing myself it was. I have bruises on my knees and shins. These don't concern me too much because my guy friend said it was very likely I would have fallen in my state. What scares me is bruises on my arms. There aren't many, but a few on my left arm that terrify me in their resemblance to finger marks. I told some of this to my guy friend, and he told me not to assume the worst. He reminded me alcohol can sometimes take a long time to fully take effect, then feel like it hits you all at once. I don't know if I'm frustrated with my friend for assuming something worse didn't happen, or if he's right in assuming that. I don't want to be the kind of girl who jumps to a conclusion accusing a man of something to avoid responsibility. If I got too wasted and made a fool of myself, that's my own fault and I'm to blame. But part of me feels like that doesn't add up, and I'm terrified. Mainly, I don't understand the powder on my lips that morning. I don't know what to think, and I am just scared. Benji 17X. I've been faking my nicotine withdrawals from my accountability friend. This is not a story where I gave up vaping but secretly still do, but something else. 2 weeks ago, me and a friend gave up vaping, and to celebrate we are going to Zion National Park for a week-long hiking and camping trip with our stronger lungs. We made each other accountability partners, and as far as I know we both are still in the game. I read up on withdrawal management and loaded up and made baskets with ibuprofen, Benadryl, mints, Jolly Ranchers, gum, non-nicotine, that people suggested to help quit. We even ran over our vapes in the Walmart parking lot. I do not have a single regret except I did not do it sooner. I honestly thank the Lord above for it, but when I tell you I had the tiniest levels of withdrawals from quitting nicotine that was a nasty habit for 4 years, I am not lying. I had a tiny headache on the 3rd day, but apart from that and just some minor a minty hit would be so nice. I am fine, and I want my money back from all the time I wasted on that stupid habit. My friend is not in the same boat. I still get calls when we talk that she can't sleep well, binge eats, migraines, etc. The first couple days, every night she would be crying about how shit she felt. I am honestly proud that she didn't go back. This isn't about how I'm annoyed at her. I'm proud, and the pact to be accountability partners makes it my responsibility to be there, because I thought I would be like that and I would like the same treatment from her. She's never taken anger out on me. Different body reactions, I guess. I didn't want to discourage her or make her feel alone by saying my journey has been easy, so I just try to match her energy. I lie and say I've been having killer headaches and can't sleep and am raging at tiny shit. Hell, I graduated college and am currently living with my parents until my grown-up career starts, and then I'm on my own. I'm stressed AF and hate seeing my friend in pain, so I cried with her. But it's all been fake. I feel fine. Had one minor headache that could have been from caffeine withdrawal cause I didn't have coffee that day. But I have zero cravings or anything. I just want us to better ourselves and quit the stupid habit. Content Scholar 9681. I pretend to be at work to avoid social interactions. I've seen confessions about pretending to have a job, but I actually have a job. I just pretend to work more hours than I actually do. It started 7 years ago when I had a controlling boyfriend, who I felt smothered and suffocated by. If I told him I needed alone time, he would show up or drive by my place unannounced. So I pretended to work on my days off. That relationship ended, but I continued to do it with friends, family, and even other guys I dated. I was caught once and accused of cheating. I talked my way out of it, but I wonder what's worse, cheating or pretending to be at work to avoid spending time with my boyfriend. I'm not even in a relationship right now, and I'm still doing it. I can't seem to stop. I'm really introverted and need more alone time than most people. It's easier to pretend to be at work than to say I don't feel like hanging out. And because I have a job, it's harder for me to get caught, because half the time I say I'm working, I actually am at work. I don't know if I'll ever stop. Edit, thanks for all the great feedback. I greatly appreciate it. To answer a few questions, I am on the spectrum and I do have anxiety. I have trouble setting/keeping boundaries, and I tend to let people push my limits or step over them completely. I have a hard time saying no, and I hate hurting people's feelings. I also do present as an extrovert in social situations, so I tend to make friends with people who are more social than me. In the past, I've dated guys who are more extroverted than I am. I have felt smothered and suffocated in most of my romantic relationships. I always thought there was something wrong with me, but I just didn't know how to fix it. I am in therapy for severe CPTSD, and I have an anxious avoidant attachment style. I will keep trying to get better. Thank you.